Hi, welcome to Elevate AI Solutions. I'm Shani, and in this short demo, I'm going to show how a data professional can move from raw operational data to a clear recommendation that a clinic could actually use. This demo is a healthcare intake scenario using simulated data. The purpose is twofold. For other data professionals, like myself, I want to model how to structure a stakeholder-facing analytics presentation. And for potential clients, I want to show how Elevate AI Solutions communicates data clearly to leadership and staff without overwhelming them with code, jargon, or disconnected charts. The first step is to frame the analysis around a decision. A common mistake in analytics presentations is starting with the data set instead of the stakeholder's problem. In this scenario, the clinic does not simply need more charts. The clinic needs to know where the intake process is slowing down and which changes would produce the fastest operational improvement. That is why the analysis focuses on completion time, missing field rates, workflow stage delays, appointment type, and practical recommendations for staffing or form redesign. When I present to non-technical teams, I always want the business question to guide the data story. Before I would present findings to a client or stakeholder, I'd make sure the data is trustworthy. In a real environment, this stage could happen in Python, SQL, or a cloud data platform. Now, I typically use Databricks, Snowflake, or sometimes I use Microsoft Fabric, but the specific tool matters less than the discipline of the process. I check for missing values, duplicate forms, inconsistent categories, invalid timestamps, and outlier completion times. For data professionals, this is where we protect the credibility of our analysis. For clients, this is where we make sure the recommendations are based on reliable information and not a messy spreadsheet. Now, the dashboard view turns the cleaned intake records into an executive level conversation. I would not lead with code or formulas here. I'd lead with the operational meaning. For example, the average completion time is 18 minutes. But the target is under 12. 24% of forms are incomplete, with the highest issue rate in new patient forms. Or the 9 to 11 morning window creates the most staffing pressure. Or 31% of records require follow-up correction. Whichever the case, the clearest priority action is to digitize the intake workflow and add validation rules so errors are caught before staff have to fix them manually. The key finding is that the clinic's biggest issue is not volume alone. It is rework. That's important because different root causes require different solutions. If volume were the only problem, the clinic might simply add staff. But when rework is driving the delay, the better solution is to just prevent errors earlier in the process. New patient forms and insurance update forms create the most friction because they contain the highest rework risk. This is the kind of insight that helps a stakeholder move from a general complaint like intake is slow to a specific measurable improvement path. My recommendation would be to start with the changes that reduce staff rework the fastest. First, digitize the highest friction forms, especially new patient and insurance update forms. Second, add validation rules, required fields, and conditional logic so incomplete or inconsistent information is caught before submission. Third, monitor the KPIs weekly so the clinic can see whether completion time, missing fields, and follow-up corrections are improving. The value is practical. Less administrative rework, faster intake, cleaner records, and better visibility for the managers. This is how analytics becomes an operating tool and not just a report. The main takeaway is that good analytics communication is decision first, data second, and action always. The intake workflow problem is measurable. Rework is a major source of delay. Digital validation is the fastest improvement path. Weekly KPI tracking helps turn the recommendation into a repeatable management system. For data professionals, this example shows how to present findings in a way that supports decisions. For potential clients, it shows the communication style Elevate AI Solutions brings to analytics, dashboards, AI workflow projects, and staff-facing recommendations. Clear, practical, and focused on operational improvement. I'm Shani Sembrano. For more information about AI workflow automation and analytic solutions, visit elevate-aisolutions.com.